Good morning, konnichiwa. First of all, I would like to thank the Bollinger in Game High to invite me and CPF to sharing our experience to you today. I think the more we share, the more we have that today I present to you today. The topic for today is share our experience for the last 10 the past decade that we have done in the pest control. I would like to introduce the CPF. CPF is Children Pokapan Food in Thailand. We have three main sections of the business. The first business is a feed business. We have our own feed plant, and also to produce the protein, duck, swine, shrimp, and aquatic feed to the customer. The second business is a farm animal. We have the breeding animal farm for the swine, poultry, shrimp, and also we produce the fresh and uncooked meat to the customer. And the last is the food section. The food section is including for the retail and food outlet and distribution channel to the customer to produce about the cooked and ready to eat meal. We have our food court and also the supermarket. The name is CP Market. And the next, we are talking about the CP and CPF in the swine operation in the world. Almost the investment is in the Southeast Asia, in the 11 countries of the world. We have more than 600,000 sow on the operation of the CP in Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Laos, Philippines, Myanmar, and also in the other countries such as Russia, China, and Taiwan. To begin with the PRRS timeline, the PRRS was discovered in the 1987 to 1992. First description about the North America and European strain, and in the 1992 there is a worldwide dissemination, and then in 1993 we discovered about the first vaccine market, and finally in 2006, like as a Professor Yang in the morning mentioned about the high pathogenic PRRS start emerging in the Asia. And in the name of the PRRS high pathogenic strain of the PRRS, we name about the spike high fever because of the symptom of the PRRS. Is it a typical PRRS? And finally, we know the name of the high pathogenic PRRS. In Thailand, we got the first case in the northeastern part of the Thailand in this area. The suspected route is from the China and movement from the animal to the North Vietnam and the South Vietnam, then spreading into Laos, Cambodia, and finally in Thailand we got the high pathogenic PRRS also. For the topic for today is the roadmap for today. The first is PRRS status identification, the second sort of the animal replacement, and the third acclimatization and vaccination, and the last one I will be talking about the pest control and elimination from CP experience. I think it's very important to know about this PRRS status identification because we want to know about what we are in the farm. From AAS, we present the terminology for the classifying swine herd by porcine reproductive and respiratory syndrome virus status. They announced about the 4 types of the category for the PRRS status by shedding status and exposure status. In Thailand, in the 2011, Mr. Damden Chaturipong, he is the head of the swine veterinary service team in the CPF. He simplified the PRRS status, and he present in the Thai Swine Veterinary Association in the 3rd guideline practice. And we start with the unstable herd. The unstable we will check by the sero monitoring. To unstable herd show about all group are the sero positive, and also all herd have the problem. The sero monitor show like this. The blue bar is the percentage of the positive of the pig, and the red line is the average of the SP ratio of the ELISA testing. This is kind of the population of the pig in the farm. And the second status we nomenclature that are stable active herd. We're talking about the shedding of the virus in this status, and also all groups are the seropositive and problem in the win to finish, such as like as a monitoring patrol like this. And the third is stable inactive herd, seropositive in South herd, but no, and seropositive or negative in the win to finish and no problem, and sero monitoring show like this. But this data is no shading in this data. And the last one is a negative herd, that negative result of the per serology and no problem. So when we know about the status classification, so we have to check in the CP farm that what status that we are, which farm is unstable, which farm is a stable, active or inactive or negative herd in our farm. And this slide is show about the pattern of, like as a model pattern of the negative, unstable, stable, active, and inactive with the percentage of the positive peak in South herd and win to finish herd. In CPF Thailand, we check the sero monitoring by cross-sectional sampling twice a year, 30 samples per South herd in each farm and 10 samples per each group from 4th, 8th, 12, 18 and 24 weeks before sending to the slaughterhouse, and the lab result was interpreted by the veterinary, and then they will give us the information about the what status that we are. And we use the ELISA technique to detect the antibody and timeline of the infection, and then we use the PCR to detect the antigen and viremia status and check the strain of the virus or European type, or North America or the Chinese strain. And recently we adapt the technique about the oral food testing in our business by detect saliva collection from, like as we call the lobe technique, the ELISA and PCR to check because of it. This technique can help us to less test for the pig and less sample, and we can do like as a group monitoring less sample, and we can know about the per status, and we use the blood sampling and also the oral fluid testing in our farm. And after we know about the per status that we are, the sort of animal that we have, the replacement and grouping in the group. In CP we have GGP, GP, and PS system, and then we have PRRS negative. We can support the PRRS negative from the sender farm to the receiver farm, and PRRS Gilt replacement should be from the PRRS negative farm, and then the single source is very important to us to control, or sometimes we can use a single or multiple or two source from the sender farm to our farm. I would like to make an example about the case study from the PRRS outbreak in the free PRRS farm. This farm is the South farm. This area is breeding and gestation. This is the ball start. The green is a farrowing area, and the pink one is replacement area. This farm got the PRRS outbreak by the replacement because of every batch of the gill when come to the farm. Batch of gill must be examined by the sero monitoring 100%, checked by the ELISA for the PRRS negative. At the 3 days after receiving the pig, we got the positive of the PRRS about 4.6%. And after that, in the 2 weeks later, from the pink area and the green area, it is about 20 meters. It can spread from the replacement area to the farrowing unit, and we found the high MMA and clinical sign of such as a PRRS in the 2 weeks later, and finally 100% positive in the South unit, and we got the wean piglet respiratory symptom also. Within 1 month, we cannot control about the PRRS outbreak in our farm, and some sound and show abortion. So this farm got the contamination from the replacement of the contamination of the birds into the farm. We learn about we have to set up the isolation area. It's far away from our farm, more than 100 or more than 300 meters away from the farm. And the third topic, we are talking about the acclimatization and vaccination to the pig. The objective for the gill and ball replacement, we aim to immunize before entering to the breeding herd. We have ever tried about the first, the second, the third technique. The first is the acclimatization technique. Second, vaccination, and the third is a serum inoculation. We have ever tried, and we cannot get a good result. We cannot control about the virus in the serum, and also they will get the high severity of the birth response. So we did not use this technique anymore. So we just only use for the acclimatization and vaccination for gill replacement. And the topic, the target of the acclimatization in each status of the farm. If the status of the farm is unstable, very active, very high shading, the target of acclimatization or the replacement animal or replacement gill or ball must be immunized by PRRS. And also the same in the type 2 stable inactive. We aim to all replacement animal must be immunized to PRRS also. But in the status inactive, there is no shedding virus in this status. The target of acclimatization is depend on the first situation or policy from our administrator. If we want to keep the farm positive, like as a stable, inactive all the time, we can support the first negative, and then we do the acclimatization and vaccination, and then move them into the breeding and gestation area. And if we want to go on the negative from this status, we can support by the first negative, and then we make them good biosecurity, make them less state, and then after that we can turn to be the first negative in our technique. And the last is the free PRRS. Gill must be free from the PRRS, and we do not the first vaccination in this status for the gill acclimatization. In this chart, Osorio and Lopez in 2004 show us about the chart. I think everyone in the room know about the chart. This chart tell us about the 1 month for the viremia. We can detect it by PCR, and also the antibody response of the ELISA or SP ratio. We can detect after infection around the 7 day or 14 day until 5 months or more than 1 year. So we can use the PCR and the ELISA to detect the antibody and antigen after the acclimatization for the pig, for the gill. The acclimatization technique that we use, the key point, we separate in this part for the 2 phases. The first phase is 30 days for the acclimatization, and the second phase is more than 60 days for the recovering period. This chart for the zero monitoring pattern is simple like this. And at the 0 day after receiving, we check the zero monitor of the gill, and then after that we acclimatize them. And then sometimes they show about the percentage of the pig that acclimatize from the first immunization, and then after that into the recovering period, it should be decline. It should be decline or emit the pathogen out of their body. But this technique get about the problem, the common problem that we found, that is a reinfection. Sometimes in the recovering period, we got the reinfection in this period, and also some gill do not be immunized because of the sometimes stable inactive, cannot shedding the virus. And then after that, we move the like as a naive gill of the purse into our farm, and then got the outbreak from this. And long time the recovering period is a common problem that we found also. The technique that we use is we move the donor, the causal. Sometimes we check about the first shedding of the causal, and then move them into the acclimatization area, and leaving them in together with the gill. Or gill have to be complete infect within 30 days, and then we will check in this phase. And then after that, we move out the causal, move out from this area, and we leave them into we leave the gilt into the comfortable zone, and we make the good biosecurity and non-stress to emit the pathogen out. This is a recovering period of we did in all the time. Now we use the vaccination to help us help us to about to not to got the reinfection and immunize all the pig. When we use the vaccination in the acclimatization phase, we do the vaccine in the first and the 5th week after receiving the pig. The key point is the same strain of the virus. That means if this farm is the US strain, we have to do the vaccine or US strain of the vaccine. If this farm is the European type, we use the EU type of the vaccine in that group. And vaccine kind of is lead shedding, and we can do all of the whole group, and also in the healthy pig. The sero monitoring pattern is shown like this. When after vaccination, it should be 100 or more than 60, more than 70% of the positive pig. And then after that, it go into the recovering period. And then after that, we can move the pig, move the gilt into our farm. For the vaccination program that we have ever tried and we know about the result, in the general, in the first vaccination, the first is for before farrowing vaccination or the after farrowing or mass vaccination. In our business, we do the after farrowing and mass vaccination. After farrowing vaccination, we do in the swine farm, in the CP farm, CP pig farm, CP sow farm. But we do the mass vaccination in the contract farm every 4 months. And in the win to finish or the finishing farm, they have the three type of vaccination program. The first is at wean. The second, one time about the 3 or 4 or 5, and 2 times, sometimes 3 and 5, sometimes 4 and 6 week of age of the animal. The question is, and which program or which combination is the best? In our experience, show us that there is no vaccination program that show us the best vaccination program. I believe that one thing that not fit all. We cannot use only one vaccination program to all the farm. So that means when we adjust the vaccination program, we have to do about the sero monitoring check, and also we know about the status what we are, and we set the vaccination program to the farm that's suitable for us. The last topic, we are talking about the pest control and elimination of the pests that we have ever did in our team. From first, it's like as a pattern. It from the unstable, we have to be changed or turned from the unstable to the stable active, then to the stable inactive, and finally go to the free pest. It is like a pattern that we use this chart for detect the pest, and then what we are going to do the next. If we want to move them to the free, how do we do? How do we do from the unstable and then move to the stable, active, inactive, and get to them free? By the control and elimination, we separate in the 2 phases. The first phase is a sow herd stabilization to turn the unstable status to the stable, active, and then going into the inactive by the symptomatic treatment and using antibiotic for control the secondary infection and reduce the disease transmission in farm by good management, adjust the pig for environmental control, calling the sick pig to reduce the infection pressure, and stabilize the herd immunity by acclimatization. We use the P1 and production system and zoning system in our farm to control the PRRS shedding in our farm. And after that, when we got the status of the stable inactive, we move them into phase 2 to elimination the pest, to got the pest free by test and removal, wean and removal, depup or repop on pest closure and lower. It depends on the farm that this is one method or 2 or 3 methods that we have ever used in our farm. In the stabilization of the herd immunity for the Gilt acclimatization, we acclimatize around the 3 to 4 months, more than 90 days, as I showed in the previous slides. And after that, this phase is key point is the soft shading the pus from the Gilt before entering to the farm. And when we immunize the pus to the Gilt, we fill the Gilt into the mating group. We think about we have to control about not more than the 20 to 80% of the Gilt and sow ratio in each mating group. Sometimes more than 20, 75 and 30, and in the next week we have to control and reduce because of the Gilt can shedding virus is very easy if we cannot if they cannot get the good recovering period. For the Gilt and sow segregation for the reduce the risk of the pus transmission in the farm, the zoning system that we have ever used, we adjust the zone in the mating. In CP, we have the individual stall and pen gestation now. In the stall gestation, we move them into the Gilt area and wean area in the mating group. For the P1 system that I have ever used, we use the P1 farm, and after that, when the parity 1 wean, we move into the parity 2 to 6 farm. This is one case study for the pest eradication from our experience. This is a sow 2000 sow farming to finish production. This area is the Gilt acclimatization in the red area. Before the 2007, this farm is a pest positive, and after 2007, we got the free pest from this farm. By this technique, we move the Gilt into this area and acclimatization them, and after that, we move them like as a P1 system in this area, and this area is a farming unit for the P2 to 6 and beating and gestation for the P2 to 6, and this is a wean to finish. We separate from the P1 and the P2 to 6 in this farm, and then after that we got the result that the pest ELISA testing in the sow, ball, nursery, and finishing got negative, and then finally we replace with the negative Gilt into our farm, and then we turn to the free pest from this situation by this technique. This is last slide of us. Today for my talk, I'm talking about the pest identification first to know about what we are of our farm, and then we focus on the sort of the animal replacement, and then acclimatization and vaccination to control the Gilt replacement, system, and finally, and when we know about the status of the pest, we know about the Gilt and the vaccination program appropriately, we can control and eradication of the pest. And today I did not mention about the biosecurity. I would like all of the members in this or of the participants don't forget the by good biosecurity to control the pest. I think it's very important to control the pest in our business. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chan.